Hi guys, it's Sam and I'm back with another video for Lawn Fawn. Today I'm making a card with the new Critters in the Desert stamps, Critters in the Desert coloring stencils, and the Flippin Awesome die set. I stamped all of my images, and instead of doing my usual, which is coloring with Zig Clean Color Real Brush markers, I am using these coloring stencils that are new from Lawn Fawn. And can I just take a minute and tell you, game changer. 3 exclamation points behind that. These stencils literally make coloring so easy. I was so impressed. I wasn't skeptical going in. I knew they were going to work, but I didn't realize how satisfying the result would be. So I'm in love with these coloring stencils. I gotta tell you, it combines everything that is my favorite of card making, which is coloring images and ink blending. Hello, this is a match made in Sam Heaven, 100%. I'm heart eyes over these coloring stencils, and I hope you give them a try. And if you do, please let me know if you love them too, and let me know if you have any tips, and I'm just so excited for everyone to try it. Okay, so I started by doing the roadrunners for my image, my card, and I used Blueprint, Sketch, and Mermaid Lagoon for the body of the roadrunner, and Wilted Violet for the wings and tail feathers. I did forget to show, because this is new for me and I'm not using Zig markers, I did forget to show the colors I was using, but at the end of my ink blending of all the images, I show what I used for each image. You will see I have many roadrunners here, and you may be thinking to yourself, why? But if you saw the card at the beginning of the video, you know I'm making a waterfall card, and I'm creating a belated birthday card that shows the roadrunner running from frame to frame because he's so fast, and he's going meep meep, and he's late for a birthday party, because who of us has not been late either to a birthday party or sending a birthday card? And I just thought that would be the perfect scene with the Flippin Awesome die set. So that was my plan for this card. The fox I used Fossilized amber for the body, vintage photo for the little nose, and saltwater taffy for his ears. For the scorpion, I am using Lost Shadow to color him and black soot to add a little bit of shading. I am using a little bit of a blue piece of paper. It's not a Post-it note because it's not sticky on the end, but it's the size of a Post-it note. And I'm just putting it at the edges of my coloring stencils to avoid any ink blending that gets on the side, because I don't have a small ink blending tool. These are large rectangles. I wanted to make sure I didn't go over what I just beautifully ink blended so flawlessly with a color that maybe necessarily wouldn't have gone there. I highly recommend, if you are going to invest in coloring stencils, picking up a few smaller ink daubers, maybe like for your finger, or little pens that have the ink dauber top. Because these images are smaller, these large rectangle ones were hard to use, and you'll see me going back and forth. Sometimes I don't even put my little rectangle ink square on my ink blender. I just use my finger holding the blending part, because I wanted to get in all the nooks and crannies. For the cacti, my bad, so sorry. I used twisted citron for most of it, then a little bit of mowed lawn on the bottom, and pine needles at the very, very bottom, with vintage photo for the little pile of dirt. Next, I'm doing the tumbleweeds, and please forgive me. I know I called them tumbleweeds last time, and I was corrected on what they actually are, and I did learn something and instantly forgot it when I was doing this narration. So, for the sake of this video, I'm just going to call them tumbleweeds, but please know, I know that they are not. And I'm using dried marigold with just a little bit of picked raspberry in the middle. Next, I'm going to color the cake with fossilized amber and picked raspberry at the top with a tiny dash of seedless preserves. And then the candles, which is abandoned coral for the tall waxy part, and then mustard seed for the flames. Here I'm just going to show you the colors. Mermaid, Lagoon, and Blueprint Sketch. Wilted Violet for the roadrunners. The little rocks were Vintage Photo. Antique Linen and Fossilized Amber, and Vintage Photo and Saltwater Taffy for the ears of my little fox. Black Soot and Lost Shadow for my scorpion. Fossilized Amber and Vintage Photo for the dirt. Twisted Citron, Mowed Lawn, and Pine Needles for the cactus. Dried Marigold, picked raspberry for the tumbleweeds. Fossilized Amber, picked raspberry for the cake. Mustard seed and abandoned coral for the candles. Whew. Okay, now we're gonna, you guessed it, do more ink blending. This is my dream come true, guys. Okay, so I decided I didn't want to do a blue sky. I decided to go with a pinky, purpley, dusky, sunsetty night sky. So I'm doing picked raspberry at the top with dried marigold at the very bottom. This is my card base, and I am doing a terrible job ink blending. My little ink cushions, I forget what they're called, are so old that they're peeling away from the Velcro. So it's making ink blending difficult. But luckily for me, most of this is going to be covered either by ink splatters or my waterfall Flippin Awesome mechanism. So no worries, I wasn't upset. For the bottom, I'm using Fossilized Amber and Vintage Photo. Again, terrible ink blending, but that's okay because, again, it will be mostly covered up. I'm going to splatter some white acrylic ink on the sky portion to make it make them look like stars. And next we're going to work on the die cutting. I die cut with the banner from black cardstock for the sentiment. Then I used white cardstock in 80 pound for the pull tab. White cardstock in 80 pound for the largest square, which I die cut 4 times. And then 80 pound white cardstock with the Flippin Awesome mechanism. And then I also die cut with 80 pound part of that large Flippin Awesome die as well. Just the part with the pull tab, because I wanted to extend my scene after the 4th one. When you pull it out, I wanted the tab to continue the scene. So I am going to die cut that and sneak it under the mechanism, and I'll show you when I do that. For these 4 scenes on my Flippin Awesome die, I'm ink blending with the exact same colors in the exact same way. Vintage Photo and Fossilized Amber for the ground. Picked raspberry at the top and dried marigold at the bottom. And then a tiny bit of seedless preserves at the top of that sky as well. Again, super quick ink blending. I am going to cover up some of the sky with more stars, and it's a desert, so if the ground isn't completely blended well, then I was okay with that. I was okay with that too. Plus, there's such little squares that if anyone was gonna have a problem with it, then that's their problem, not mine, because I'm happy with it. I'm going to use, again, same colors for this partial die cut of the large Flippin Awesome mechanism. Seedless preserves at the top, picked raspberry at the top, and dried marigold at the bottom, with fossilized amber and vintage photo for the bottom. And again, this is just going to elongate my scene, and it's actually going to be where the birthday party takes place. Spoiler alert. And this is the best part, is splattering the stars everywhere. And I am just using white acrylic ink, a little tiny bit of water, and a paintbrush, and splattering it all around, and then I set it aside to dry. So while it's drying, I decided to heat emboss my sentiment. And I'm using the pre-cut banner from Black Licorice cardstock that I showed earlier. It is going to be heat embossed. The sentiment is going to be heat embossed in white, and it's going to say, "For your birthday." And the rest of the sentiment will go on the inside of the card. So now I'm just using the main die part of Flippin Awesome, and I'm folding along all of the perforated lines. I'm going to fold them one way and then flip it over and fold them all the other way. There's also 2 tabs at the end that I'm going to fold over and make sure they're nice and creased. And then we can start putting our card together, which made me realize I needed to figure out how to have my cards. So I set up the 4 panels how I wanted them to look, and because I wanted the Roadrunner to look like he was speeding off for a late birthday, I decided to do the cactus and the little tumbleweed in the same position on each little square, and then just move the Roadrunner in the position on the card so it looks like he's running past. And now I'm going to attach them to my card. So first I'm going to do some adhesive for my last scene, then 1 line of adhesive in between each perforated line we folded, and that I'm just going to put them down in the order that I want them. And then I'm going to use really sticky tape for the tabs of my mechanism, fold it over, and this is where I'm like, yes, this is where I need to add my extra little piece that I had decorated. So I'm attaching it to the inside of the mechanism when it's folded, so that when you pull it out, it extends the scene. And I'm only attaching this piece to that card front with those 2 tabs. And I'm going to add a tiny bit of dabs of glue because I really don't want them to go anywhere. And as you can see, it works perfectly. Yay! And I have all the scenes lined up with the ground and the sky from the back of the card to the waterfall portion of the card. And next I'm going to finally create the party part of this card. I wasn't really sure where I wanted these images to go, so I was just kind of playing with it, seeing how I wanted it to go. I definitely wanted to put that little Roadrunner coming out all the way, and definitely wanted the cake there. So I'm going to, before I glued anything down on this panel besides the Roadrunner, I decided to heat emboss the rest of the sentiment right on that panel. And it says, sorry I'm running late, which is perfect. Next I'm just adding that little rock with the scorpion and the cake, and I thought, okay, I'm done. But it looked plain to me, so I wanted to add, well, of course, the banner to the front, but I wanted to add maybe the fox, who is my favorite image from this set, to the front of the card. I couldn't figure out where to put him. I had some extra rocks I thought about putting on the card, but again, I couldn't exactly figure out where I wanted them to go. So I played around with it a little bit, kept making sure that the mechanism works, and it does, and I love it. And yay! I mean, I could watch it all day. Does it look like he's running? I hope it looks like he's running. That was my intention. I really wanted to use the fox, so I decided to use him at the end of the birthday party. And look, now the Roadrunner is going to make it just in time for the fox to blow out his candles, and I think this is so cute. I hope that you enjoyed watching me make this card as much as I enjoyed making this card. I hope it inspires you to create a Flippin' Awesome card with these new coloring stencils, which are just phenomenal. Thanks so much again, and be sure to check this card out up on the Lawn Fawn blog. Thanks again. Bye.